I think that there are still tons of opportunities in pay TV, and it really gets down to, can you come up with ideas that deliver real value to the customer across the food chain? And this really means not only the pay TV operator, but the OEM and the end consumer. All of those are critical constituencies when you're trying to develop a product and get it deployed within the pay TV industry. You need to solve a critical problem, and you need to have an understanding of the process of taking a company from initial concept through the supply chain and also through the sales cycle of the pay TV industry, which is a pretty long sales cycle. I think as I've done QuestFusion, that's my consulting company, over the last year, I've met with dozens of startups with some without great ideas, some with fantastic ideas. Some of the ideas may not be appropriate for the pay TV industry, but others certainly have applications within pay TV. I think the challenge is, even with those companies, they don't have a good understanding of what it takes to actually navigate through, and get business in pay TV.
Yeah, I agree. The sales cycle is really complicated. So why don't we talk about what are the challenges you see in the sales cycle, other than the length, which everybody knows is long?
Yeah, I mean, the pay TV industry is, in order to penetrate it, it's a complex multi-year process, and it's far from linear. I think that you also have to be aware of the landing zones you're trying to hit. So as an example, and as a semiconductor chip company like Entropic, getting MoCA deployed required us initially to demonstrate proof of concept at a laboratory level, then at a small deployment level. We had to do field trials on our own to prove out the technology, and then work with some of the key ecosystem partners, the OEMs, that eventually also became investors in Entropic, as did some of the pay TV operators, to really work closely with them in a collaborative way. One of the biggest ways we did that was establishing an industry alliance called MoCA, where we took our technology and agreed to make that an industry standard in order to get widespread traction for the product.
That's really smart. Yeah, so getting traction is important, and you mentioned field trials. They're a critical milestone, but they're not the end goal. So many technology companies I run into, they think they get a field trial, they're done. They're not done.
No, it's really the beginning.
Yeah, and there's lots of hurdles that you have to go to, and strategic partnerships are near and dear to my heart. It's what I really focus on right now, and I gotta believe that strategic partnerships, like the alliance that you set up. Can you talk about strategic alliances, and really, what are the role that they play in the pay TV ecosystem?
Well, strategic partners are critical in pay TV because it's an industry that's been around a long time, and as a new player or a new entrant to the market, there's a high degree of skepticism around anybody coming in that they don't have a decades-long relationship with. So building relationships with key partners, as an example, Motorola was one of our key partners working in Entropic. They were one of the early adopters of MoCA, and we would jointly pursue business, us as the technology supplier and them as the set-top box supplier within the industry. And those were like what I would call business partnerships, working with the technology arms and the business parts of those companies. We also had strategic partnerships on the investor side. So trying to align interests between the companies that we were selling products to and the financial success on a small scale, but still there was alignment of interest as we had strategic partners come in as strategic investors. That also allowed them to have an inside seat at the board. They weren't board members, but they were board observers. So they were able to get a better understanding. And through that process, you build relationships and you build trust. And that's really the key thing about these partnerships, is you have somebody that's then an ally that has this decades-long relationship, and while you're building the relationship with the customer yourself.
Yeah, it's all about leverage. Strategic partnerships are all about leverage. And like you said, there you're leveraging credibility.
Yeah,
because it's hard for startups to have credibility.